You are listening to Feed the Beast, a weekly podcast exploring all things food with business partners, spouses, and your hosts, Chef Chris Paul and nutritionist Leigh-Ann Charles Paul of Everything We Eat. I hope you're hungry, because it's time to feed
your inner beast.
Real quick before we get into the interview, we want to tell you about Lighting the Torch, a cocktail party and networking event that's coming up in October, hosted by our parent organization, the Enterprise Center, in partnership with the Minority Entrepreneurship Development Week. Now, the funds raised are going to support the Enterprise Center's programs to accelerate the growth of minority-owned businesses. Lighting the Torch takes place Thursday, October 4th, 2018, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the Enterprise Center located in West Philadelphia. Learn more and purchase your tickets online at ltt2018.eventbrite.com. That's ltt2018.eventbrite.com. And that link will be below in the show notes. Without further ado, here we go.
Welcome back to Feed the Beast. I'm Leigh-Ann Charles Paul.
I'm Chris Paul.
And this week, our guest is Alex Canter from Ordermark. He's the founder of Ordermark, a LA-based online ordering management company. Yeah, thanks for being here, Alex.
Thanks for having me on the show today. Excited to be here with you guys.
Thank you. So before we get started, let's just talk a little bit about some food news happening here in Philly, actually. I know we've been doing a lot of international stuff, but let's talk about what's going on in Philly. So diners are on the move. And although it's not a new concept, a lot of diners that may have not been successful in other states are moving from state to state as a way of preserving, for most of us, I guess, a nostalgic thing. I know I have many childhood memories of being at diners, especially in high school after like dances and stuff. So the most recent is a 1950s diner that was originally in Connecticut, manufactured by Mountain View Diners Company in New Jersey. And it's made its way to Philly in early August. It will reopen in early 2019 as Wayne Junction Diner in Germantown. And that will be part of the revitalization project that's happening in the new Nicetown area. So a way of paying homage to the restaurants and train stations that have been there formerly. So be sure to check it out. You know, it's supposed to be 133 Berkeley Street in Germantown. But for those people, I know Chris and I have a food truck, and we were just talking with Ryan, actually, our production manager, about how horrible and wonderful food trucks are at the same time. So for those who may not want to do the food truck venture, may not be ready for a restaurant, think about a restaurant on wheels, something that's mobile, that can actually be stationary and acts like a restaurant.
It's funny you mention the two things that I grew up in my family business. My family has a diner in Los Angeles that's been there since 1931, and it's been in my family for 4 generations. I got to grow up in the business, and part of our evolution as a restaurant, we actually owned and operated our own Canter's Deli food truck for about 6 or 7 years. So I'm very familiar with the food truck grind and everything that it takes to get that off the ground.
Yeah. So food truck or restaurant, which one?
I would say food truck is really tough. The laws are getting more challenging. Parking is becoming an issue, and it's really more event-based is where you find a lot of the success. So I would say it's either one is really tough, but I would go with the restaurant if I had to choose.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if you're familiar with Wawa in LA, but Wawa is a huge chain on the East Coast. And I think part of what we could associate with diners sort of declining is, diners were convenient because it's 24/7 and they have an array of food, where Wawas are 24/7. They have gas, they have, alcohol in some cases, they have tobacco, and they have the same exact menu. And there's like 600 of them now. So, I think if you think of like, on the East Coast, I could definitely see why diners are sort of depleting, because 20 years ago, there weren't that many 24-hour options. It was a diner. Now there's a Wawa almost every mile.
But you're not getting waffles at Wawa, or what's my favorite? Oh, grits. Grits and corned beef hash. So good. Yeah, that's so good.
Yes.
But anyway,
We were actually we were one of the first 24-hour diners in LA too. We became 24/7 starting in 1953, which was
oh wow.
very early on for LA, being located in West Hollywood. It was one of the only late night places for all the hippies to come hang out after the Sunset Strip would let out. It was an interesting time in Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm sure. I remember on Mad Men, they were trying to market to get people to move out to LA because people were like, "What's out there?" So that would have been a really interesting time. So it seems, Alex, that you've had a lot of experience. I know, like I was reading up on your Forbes article. You guys had like a lot of experience working in kitchens, and is that how you kind of segued into the ordering management services?
Yeah, I can give you a little background and context to kind of how Ordermark came to be what it is today. I had a unique experience growing up in the restaurant industry. It was a very old school restaurant, Canter's Deli in West Hollywood. My job particularly was to bring in new technology, innovate, kind of prepare the restaurant for the next generation, just like everyone else in my family had. And along the way, online ordering started popping up with Grubhub and Eat24 and DoorDash. And with each one of these online ordering platforms, we realized that we were adding incremental revenue to our business. If we weren't listed on one of these apps, we didn't exist to all the people who use them. And so we unlocked that this was really a numbers game and signed up for every online ordering platform that we could think of and find, which ended up being 14 online ordering platforms. And online ordering became over 30% of our business as a restaurant, which was kind of mind-blowing at the time. However, it did come with its challenges. It was extremely disruptive to our operations, and the staff basically wanted to kill me because we had 9 tablets, 2 laptops, and a fax machine just to manage all the incoming orders, and it was a complete train wreck.
And this was recently? What year was this?
Yeah, we started taking a dive into online ordering around a little over 5 years ago, and it really started doubling year over year for us as a restaurant. At first, we were getting 15, 20 orders a day. Now we're actually receiving over 200 online orders a day.
Oh wow!
Just from these third-party platforms, and it's continuing to grow, especially in a lot of these major cities. So I realized that there are a lot of restaurants that don't, they're not equipped, they're not prepared to adopt third-party online ordering into their restaurant because there are a lot of operational challenges. It's a lot of additional training for the staff. It's a lot of independent hardware to manage. And we ultimately wanted to bring all of these systems together into one device to make it stupid simple for restaurant owners to be able to take all of these incoming online orders, standardize that data, and print it out right on the kitchen line in a language that restaurant people actually understand, which is your thermal ticket, rather than having to translate the order digitally from a tablet and get it through the point of sale system into the back of the house. So really reimagining the online ordering experience in kitchens. And that's when we came up with this idea and put together a team and started Ordermark at the beginning of last year.
Now, could you go into a little bit more detail how you're actually able to transfer, let's say, how do you make Uber orders look like caviar orders? That was one of our issues too when we had Urban, is we had about 5 tablets, and you're right, some were coming on, a regular thermal printer, some were coming through a regular desktop printer, and then some didn't even print, and you had to use the tablet, and it was a nightmare.
It's also disgusting because you're
I mean, you almost need a whole entire person managing that system.
Yeah, exactly.
You do. You need like a wall hugger, just sitting there confirming orders on these tablets. But now what we've done is we've basically taken all of these different incoming data sources and created a translation system that pulls the information and strips it down to its core properties to be able to understand, this is the food you need to make. This is the company that it's coming from, and this is the time that a driver is coming to pick up that food. And once you take that core information and give it to the people in the restaurant, everything else becomes almost irrelevant. There are obviously a lot of nice features that a lot of these online ordering platforms offer through their tablets, like being able to see drivers in real time And we still encourage restaurants, if they enjoy using those features, they can still keep those tablets active and utilize some of that functionality. But at its core, we want to get the order information right to the kitchen. And that's what we're providing restaurants right now.
So I guess on the back end, what do a restaurant need as far as hardware to sort of start utilizing Ordermark?
So Ordermark, what we do, we send each restaurant location an individual online ordering fulfillment device. So you get a single tablet and a single printer for all of your online ordering. And once everything is coming through that single tablet and printer, it's easy to grow your order volume because there's an actual flow. There's a process to the incoming orders.
Now, would you go into that tablet and physically sign into like Uber Eats, to Caviar, like sort of like an app?
The tablet itself, it's kind of like a window into all of your third-party online ordering. So it's a stream of all the incoming orders from Uber Eats to Caviar to DoorDash, all coming into one interface where you can see cross-platform analytics. You can see very important summary sales data so that restaurants have real visibility into the volume that they're doing on a daily basis. It gives them the tools to properly staff based on that timing, and just giving them these insights is critical.
Now, were there any challenges? Did you have to get permission, from like Uber Eats, or are you just able to cross-reference that login information without a problem?
Getting started was definitely challenging. We didn't really have any real relationships with these online ordering platforms, so we had to start building them over time. Part of that is being a good partner to these guys. We see each of these online ordering companies as a true partnership, and that means that we're really being good listeners to what they're asking for. We're complying with however they want to send us order information. Every online ordering system has a different level of sophistication when it comes to having two-way API communication, to different order protocols to get that order information to the restaurant. And so not only are we collaborating with them, working with them, making their process easier for the restaurant, but we're also acting as a sales force for the online ordering companies, signing up more restaurants to the online ordering platforms. And, a good example of that would be what we did with Yogurtland. Yogurtland wasn't doing any online ordering in LA, and we started working with a local franchisee, really helped them set up a menu for success, gave them a fulfillment tool, and plugged them in to all the relevant online ordering platforms that were available in the area. And now they're cranking online orders from Postmates and DoorDash and Grubhub, and really opening their eyes to what their true online ordering potential could be.
Very cool. Now, can you be a smaller business? Can you be a larger business? What's the scale to sign up for Ordermark?
Fundamentally, our product is really meant for any style restaurant. We realize that there's a lot of different styles of setups, from full waiter service to QSR to fast casual and everything in between. And when we started building the product, we at first were working with a lot of mom and pops, a lot of independents, and then realized that the problem that we were solving was even more relevant and relatable to some of these medium and larger size chains who are being hit really hard with the decline in foot traffic and are always looking for new ways to reach new customers. And these third-party apps are critical for increasing order volume because people who use Grubhub. And when they're hungry, they open up their app. So, rather than fighting what's going on, it's better to just prepare yourself for success and make sure that you're set up to handle the incoming order volume. And now we're working with restaurants of all sizes.
Do you work with food trucks as well?
I used to work with food trucks a lot. I used to book them for different events, and I think it's very challenging for food trucks to maximize their online ordering value because they're constantly moving. Hours are always changing. Oftentimes the menu isn't very flexible because you'll run out of items throughout the day, which makes online ordering a bit more challenging. So we have seen some food trucks do it really well. I think we'll see more and more food trucks participating with Uber Eats and some of these other online ordering companies, especially ones that are going to the same places each day.
Oh, that's great. That's I'm glad you actually said that, because I know for a lot of food truck companies, they are looking to expand into the online ordering market. So for our listeners out there who have food trucks, contact Ordermark. Do a
Now,
little marketing spiel.
now, what's your revenue model when it comes to what are signing up? Like, what does it cost as far as a consumer, and what's like the ongoing partnership financial aspect of it?
Yeah, so we are essentially a growth mechanism for our restaurants. Not only are we streamlining the operations, but we're actually facilitating the ability for a restaurant to take more orders and plug them into more systems. So as part of that, we charge a small monthly fee, $79 a month, plus a small per order fee, which shows that if we participate in the upside of growing that restaurant's business. So if we're able to increase a restaurant's order volume by 10x, it's not an issue for them to pay a small fee per order to make that a possibility. And we have restaurants now that are doing, over $100,000 a month in online ordering revenue. And that's not what everyone's going to be experiencing. But it's crazy for me to see restaurants that have more online ordering volume than in-store volume. And I think
awesome.
that's kind of where things are heading right now. Convenience is not a fad. It's not going away. And ordering through these apps is just, it's so much more effective if you're ordering office lunch, if you're at home. People are replacing cooking with ordering online. So there's a really unique opportunity right now for restaurants to take advantage of this wave and not fall behind.
Now, when it comes to processing the orders as far as payments, are you involved in that, or do you sort of leave that within each platform?
So since we're not an online ordering company, we're actually not on the transaction side. All the orders are still being placed on the apps like DoorDash and Postmates. We're just taking the order information after the order's been placed and sending it to the restaurant in a convenient method for them to be able to crank out food and not think about all the logistics involved to make that happen.
Okay. Well, just to simplify it for anybody that may be confused, since we're talking a lot, let's say I'm a restaurant. How does my day begin with Ordermark? I open my restaurant and now what? I'm at my kiosk.
If you're a live Ordermark customer, you'll have a tablet up in the front of the house so that you have visibility into what's going on. You have a place to go. If drivers are showing up or people are calling, you can look up order information very easily across any online ordering service. And then you have a printer, an Ordermark printer. It's an Epson thermal printer that would go either right on the kitchen line or somewhere, depending on how your restaurant's set up. It could be wherever your tablets are currently sitting now. And an order gets placed on Grubhub, it will come streamlined automatically to the printer wherever it's located, and it will print out with the information very clearly stated so that the restaurant can crank that order out and place it in the delivery pickup zone for the driver to come get it.
Okay, sounds simple enough. So that's great, Alex. Sounds like a really great program. And what's the next steps for you now?
As a company, we're really expanding right now. We're moving into different states. We're now live in, I think, 25 states.
Oh, cool.
And continuously expanding our reach, working with rolling out some of these larger chains as well. And really, we're just here to help as many restaurants as we can. And it's been a lot of fun watching this company grow over the last year and a half. And we're really excited to be in a position to help transform this shift into the restaurant industry. It's awesome.
Now, as far as online ordering, are you aware of any trends as far as like any revenue numbers going on? Because I know you mentioned like some restaurants are actually getting more online versus in-store. I wonder, how much revenue does Uber Eats or Caviar, if you have any insight in any of those numbers?
There's a lot of information out there. I've seen a number of different reports that show that online ordering has been growing consistently between 15 to 30% year over year. But we see a lot of restaurants where it's actually a lot higher than that. There are a lot of patterns that we're seeing. For example, every time it rains, online ordering volume spikes. Just something that's interesting to observe. And then there's a lot of trends that are just happening naturally, like Nashville hot chicken is becoming more and more popular as a delivery item. There's always different hot things that are happening. Like poke is obviously on the rise right now.
Yeah,
people
we
are
heard about that.
people are ordering poke like crazy right now. So
Yeah, we actually have a place in Philly. It's called
There's like 3 now.
Pokemon.
Yeah,
No, I like
Pokemon.
that. Yeah, because it's so catchy.
but really, like, my one advice for restaurant owners is that, even if you don't think online ordering is meant for your restaurant, I promise you there's a version of your menu that will work for online ordering. We've worked with steakhouses to turn their menu into an online ordering friendly menu, just doing salads and burgers and maybe a steak sandwich instead of like a filet mignon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to be creative with this, and don't think that you have to put your entire menu online. You can really work with your menu to make sure that it makes sense for delivery.
That's actually a really great point, being that, you don't have to commit your full menu. You do have the option to customize certain things. And that's one thing I've seen, not everything is great delivered. So that's a good point to make for, business owners out there. If you have 30 things on your menu, you don't necessarily need to put all 30 on your online ordering menu.
Exactly.
And that's also great. I'm glad that you listed those trends for our listeners out there, because it gives a basis as to why online ordering is so important. We need to be successful in the food business, especially, we need to make sure we're keeping up with these trends. So, Alex, thank you so much for talking with us. I know for our listeners out there, Alex is remote. So, Alex, thank you for calling in and being a part of our podcast today. We love what you're doing. We hope a lot of our listeners out there that are trying to start their own businesses or already have their own businesses up and running, and you're using online ordering or you're thinking of it, make sure to check out Ordermark. And Alex, where can they find you if people wanted to sign up?
You could just go to ordermark.com. It's just ordermark.com. You could just fill out the form. Someone will get back to you very shortly.
Okay, great. Well, again, Alex, thank you so much for speaking with us. Great ideas here with Ordermark, and listeners out there, be sure to check Ordermark out. Before we close out, Chris, do you have any highlights?
Yeah, once again, thank you, Alex. I think this is definitely a great solution. We've dealt with that. Like you said, you've dealt with having 9 tablets and just combining everything is great. We'd like to highlight the Navy Yard. Actually, they're having some pop-ups in the near future of just trucks coming up throughout the week. They're going to feature, for lunch. They're going to just feature a bunch of different trucks. So if you're in the area or work near there, definitely check them out. We'll actually be there for a couple of days in September. So definitely check that out. And I think a lot of those trucks actually use some online ordering. So be sure to check out your app, jump on Uber Eats. And, we're actually thinking of joining. We're going to definitely look into Ordermark. And I know we've been trying to work with some partners as well to try to combine all of those. And hopefully we're online soon, because I think it's a great source of revenue.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show today. Really appreciate the conversation. It was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, as usual, our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at Everything We Eat Philly for our happenings each week. And I know it's fall time right now, so, it's getting a little bit colder. You may not want to come out to the food truck, but fall is also the perfect time where it's still a little warm. So come out and check us out. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you next week on Feed the Beast.
Hello, everyone. This is Ryan Martin, the producer and sound engineer for the Grit Studios. If you enjoy our podcasts, the most important thing you can do to support us is share this episode with your family and friends, and let us know what you think about it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you find your podcasts. Subscribing is 100% free. Don't know how to subscribe? Don't worry about it. There's a video walking you through the process in the show notes below. We will see you next week, and thank you for listening.